Delivering medical assistance to populations in danger is the core activity of Médecins Sans Frontières. The role of the operations department is to provide ongoing support to the field.
Staff in the operations department usually have fairly extensive operational experience, so they can guide people in the field on where to put their focus and assess the relevance and quality of interventions and the resources deployed.
The teams in the field identify the issues in the countries where they work, the type of conflict or epidemic, for example, and make appropriate proposals to headquarters on planning and implementing the response.
It needs to be an adapted response of real value to the people affected. It also needs to fit with MSF's expertise. Of course, the most pertinent response we can offer is usually in the medical sphere.
Discussions are then initiated with headquarters on if and how MSF should intervene, particularly in terms of resources and expertise. While MSF's purpose is first and foremost emergency aid, the organisation is working increasingly in medium and long-term programmes, such as HIV/AIDS and tuberculosis treatment.
MSF launched HIV/AIDS programmes around 10 years ago, and we've just committed to a further 10 years of treatment for people living with the disease.
This commitment is crucial to the hundreds of thousands of people living with HIV/AIDS receiving treatment from MSF. Their survival depends on taking medication every day for the rest of their lives.
Over the years, we've also gone into more specialised areas, such as secondary and inpatient care. We've also developed our activities in surgery and again in paediatrics.
MSF insists on quality care standards in all the areas it works in.
Standards that can be adapted, but are consistent with our ongoing drive for quality rather than low-cost medicine and seeking to implement procedures such as hygiene and patient follow-up. We don't want to deliver second-rate medical services, as we are highly committed to providing quality in all the programmes we set up, wherever they may be.
Teams in the operations department at headquarters are divided up into desks and monitor each step in the rolling out of field activities.
Each desk is in charge of 3 to 5 countries, depending on the programmes and workload. The desk teams are there to respond to any operational, political, technical, medical and logistical issues raised by the field workers.
Security risk management is an important aspect of the department's work, as risk can never be completely ruled out.
Each person signing up to MSF makes a personal decision and is aware that they may be called on to intervene in areas of conflict, places where there may be a real risk of being kidnapped or even killed. These people must be duly informed so that they can make a considered decision. But every single person at MSF needs to be aware of the risks the teams face.
Different indicators allow MSF to assess the nature and imminence of a risk.
It's really hard to measure these kinds of risks, to detect the warning signs, and to establish contacts at the local level, which can help us identify when the level of risk becomes too high. The field teams attach a lot of importance to having a local and national network of contacts, which can help determine if at a particular moment MSF is at risk and take an informed decision. But here too accidents happen. This is a complex world we're living in.
Whether it be for security reasons or not, at some point programs have to be closed and MSF has to leave a country. Never an easy decision.
There are objective criteria to evaluate the medical impact on mortality, morbidity, or on a particular pathology. Those are the objective criteria.
And there are more subjective criteria.
There's what doesn't show, the personal involvement, and the subjective, which makes the decision to close extremely complicated. Of course, we close programs in countries. There's usually internal disagreement on withdrawing from a country or closing a project, because some people, and thank goodness there are, as that's the human element in our work, some people become very attached to certain countries and certain programs.
The role of the operations department in this case is to facilitate the decision-making process.
If not, we'd end up staying 40 years in all the countries where we work. But yes, it's complex. There's a very human side. Take West Africa, for example. I was really sad to leave Liberia, as it's a country that really made an impression on me. I did understand some of the reasons why we wanted to close, but I was personally very attached to it. MSF is much more than just processes, standards, and everything we've just talked about. It's also an extraordinary humanitarian adventure in the company of people we cross paths with and spend time with. It isn't about putting our lives on hold, it is life. And all these countries, programs, projects we spend several months on, they're our lives. We give them our all.